Today I'm going to show you the amazing sawtooth coriander, also known by many other names, as many names as the countries that it grows in, and I'm going to show you how well it grows in the tropics. Hi, I'm Debbie and welcome to Vintage Food Farm. Today is really exciting. I've not had a lot of success growing normal coriander, which is cilantro, but I've had extremely good success growing culantro, which is sawtooth coriander, aka Mexican coriander, Thai coriander. In Trinidad and Tobago, it's called shadow benny. Long coriander, there's a different word in Vietnam for it, so many names. It grows much easier than traditional coriander, and it doesn't tend to bolt and seed as quickly, and if it does, you can just pull the seeds off and your coriander will come up beautiful. I've got it planted in a number of places around the block, and I'll show you the main one, which is in the raised garden bed, which is obviously more convenient because before dinner I can go out and easily pick it. So let's go and have a look. Do you guys want to come in the veggie garden with me? Let's go. This is our sawtooth coriander bed. It is so beautiful. I'll just show you. Look at the size of these leaves. They are so lush, got so much flavour and fragrance. They don't have that really serrated edge, and I'll tell you why that is. So this is the sawtooth coriander. We also have some spring onions growing in between, which seems to work really well. And in the middle of this garden bed, we have the papaya tree. And the papaya tree is planted here for two main reasons. When I was researching how to grow sawtooth coriander, most of the places said to grow it, you could grow it in full sun, and you can grow it in full sun. We did grow it in full sun to begin with. But what we found was, and I actually saw this in Vietnam, is that when it was grown in the shade, the leaves became much bigger and less spiky and much more flavoursome and much greener. So when the plant grows in the full sun, it tends to have smaller, thinner, spikier leaves, and it tends to bolt and go to seed very quickly, which is a really good thing in the beginning, because when you first plant your sawtooth coriander, you want it to go to seed so that you can get as many plants as possible, and I'll show you that later. But once you've established a big enough crop of sawtooth coriander, then you actually don't want it to go to seed. You want to pull all those seed heads off so that all the energy of the plant goes into the leaves and not into producing seeds. And that's how you get these amazing, huge, tasty sawtooth coriander leaves. I wish that you could smell it. It is just incredible. Just look at these. So this is where it's going to seed. So this is this is only a new one because I pull these out all the time. But you can just see that the seeds, the flowers, come up on a stalk from in between the leaves of the coriander, and then they send out these heads which turn into, I don't know if you can see that there. See the little green bunch of seeds on the end of that flower? That will eventually turn brown, and I will show you some that has turned brown, and I'll show you what the seeds look like. When you first plant your coriander, it's a really great idea to let it go to seed so that it seeds all through your garden bed or through your pots or through your garden, and then you've got lots of plants. But once once you've got enough coriander, then you want to start pulling off the seed pods, and all that is just snapping it off, easy. And that way the plant will put the energy into the leaves and not producing the seeds. So every day when I come out and get coriander, and I do come out every day, there'll be 1 or 2 flowers. I left these on so that I could show you. And I just pull them off, chuck them on the ground. There's also, you can also make a condiment by actually putting these seed heads in a blender with garlic and chili and oil. And that's meant to be really good. I've not done it, but I'm going to definitely try it because I hate waste and I'm chucking these away. That's a lemon basil that's just self-seeded in there. Little spider friend. There's an old pawpaw flower, papaya flower that's fallen down. You can see these spring onions, they're just beautiful. If you want to grow spring onions and you're currently buying spring onions from the supermarket or the markets, every time you cut the top off, just plant the bottom part with the roots and you will end up, that's how I got all of these spring onions. And I think I did it for about 6 months. Every time I bought spring onions, I would plant them out, and now I never have to buy spring onions. We have enough to use just about every meal, every day. So some of the things that we use sawtooth coriander for, and we use it a lot, is well, in anything to replace normal coriander or cilantro, you can use cilantro or sawtooth coriander. We make a beautiful mango salsa when we've got some fresh mangoes, and we chop up a heap of the sawtooth coriander and put that in there, and some spring onions, and that is really, really beautiful on barbecue meats or on a fish taco with some sour cream. That is one of the most amazing things. I use sawtooth coriander. If I'm really lazy and I don't feel like cooking, I will get an Asian 2-minute noodles and I will fill it with sawtooth coriander and kangkong and spring onion and even some Thai basil or some lemon basil. And then I will fry an egg and put that on top and a bit of lime juice. And that is a really, I call it POV noodles, but it's so beautiful and so fragrant because of all the herbs in it. Another really cheap and lazy meal that we have often is a Thai omelette. If you have a look at the YouTube channel Hot Thai Kitchen or Palin's Kitchen, she can show you how to make the most amazing Thai omelettes ever. I've completely butchered it, but I still do it all the time because we have chickens and we have heaps of eggs. We get just 2 eggs, a tablespoon of fish sauce, and then I put in some herbs like sawtooth coriander and spring onion, not too much, just a little bit, and then fry that up really crispy, not like a French omelette, like a really crispy omelette, and you can have that on rice with chili sauce or just eat it by itself, and that is such an easy, for us because we have free eggs, very cheap meal. If I'm cooking for family, I might do a really fancy Thai omelette and add some prawn mince and some pork mince to it and all the herbs from the garden, and people just absolutely love it. So that's a really great recipe to have under your belt if you've got a lot of herbs growing in the tropics in your garden. You can make amazing condiments and sort of like chutneys, green chutneys or green condiments, where you put heaps of coriander, spring onions, mint, whatever herbs you have. It took me a while to actually get over worlds colliding. Like I would always try and use all the right herbs for the right nationalities of food. But once I learned how to grow in the tropics, I realised that you just use what you've got and it is absolutely beautiful. And you can chuck a whole heap of herbs into a blender with a little bit of oil, a little bit of calamansi juice, a little pinch of salt, and blitz it all up, some garlic. You can even add chili, blitz it all up, and that will last for a couple of days in the fridge, and you can just spoon that on everything and it makes everything taste amazing. It just comes to life because of the really herby greeniness of it. I'll take you now and I'll show you some other places that we have it growing all throughout the block. So the really great thing about sawtooth coriander also is that the chickens don't eat it. So that sounds like a downside, but I want to plant it outside the fenced vegetable garden because it keeps all the weeds down. And if the chickens ate it, they would just eat the lot, but they don't eat it. So I can use that as, instead of mulching to try and keep the weeds down and the moisture in the soil, I'm just using sawtooth coriander. I'll show you here. So this is in a raised garden bed, and I'll show you outside as well, but here it is. This is underneath a pea eggplant. You can see all the pea eggplant up there. I am keeping one eye out for a snake, don't worry. And then down here, you can see that it's shady, so the leaves are huge and lush, and it is keeping all of the weeds down, and it's also stopping evaporation from the garden beds. If you look down here, that's all baby coriander there. The other thing is, if I do go ridiculously too far and have too much coriander in the garden beds that would stop other things from coming up, it's not that hard to pull it out either. So yeah, a really great alternative to paying for mulch, and it will beat the grass. So if you've got grass growing up in your garden beds, it is the dogs are chasing something that scared the living daylights out of me. What is it, Lexi? There is something in that garden bed. What is it? Lexi. Lexi. Lexi, get down. Get down. Now I'm really scared that something is going to run out at me. She has just jumped in the middle of the garden bed. There she is. She's out again. But there is 100% some sort of critter, maybe a rat, in that garden bed. That garden bed has galangal and lemongrass in it, so hopefully it's not a snake. Anyway, I'll leave them to that. So because our pineapple garden, which I'll show you, is out in the middle of the lawn, it's surrounded by lawn, and because we probably don't mow the lawn as often as we can, it goes to seed. I like the lawn to go to seed because the chickens eat the seeds, but it also means that the lawn seeds can come up in the garden beds. So because of that, I am growing sawtooth coriander everywhere so that it beats the grass, and it's a pretty looking sort of ground cover. It provides the water retention that a mulch would, and it doesn't cost us anything, and we can eat it. In here you can see this is in full sun, and you can see that the leaves aren't quite as lush, but I am letting all of this go to seed. You can see the little flowers with the seeds on them, and you just crush those in your fingers and spread them around. And I want this coriander to outgrow all of this weedy ground cover that's come up, and the grass, and a lot of these plants, which are weeds as well. And it will do it. You can see here it's starting to work. The key is to use plants to do the work for you, not you to do the work for plants. I hate weeding. I don't have time to weed, and by using that sawtooth coriander to keep the weeds down and retain the moisture in the soil, and have fresh coriander to eat is just a win-win. When we were looking for this property, I went to heaps of open houses, and we went to one in Kuranda, which is just like the next suburb in towards Cairns, up on the top of the range, very tropical. And there was a house there, and that had so much sawtooth coriander that it was all popping up in the lawn everywhere. So I suppose you could end up with too much, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Hey guys. Hello. Hello. There's my two beautiful Arancanas, blue egg layers. Look at this silver one. Hello. What you doing? What's going on? Does Moringa want to be in the video? So these Arancana chickens are dust bathing at the moment under the turmeric. They're a little bit shy, absolutely beautiful chickens. This is Sweet Leaf, which is bending over a little bit because we've had really heavy rain. There's the seeds from it. This is a beautiful vegetable in soup. You need to cook it a little bit longer than you would think, but really, really gorgeous. The other good thing about sawtooth coriander is that you can actually cook it for a little bit longer. You don't need to, you can have it raw and fresh and it's beautiful. But if you do put it into soups or stews or curries, stir fries, it can sort of maintain its mass, its body a little bit better than what normal coriander does. Just talking about ground covers, this is betel leaf, and I've got some growing in pots here for some people, but that's another really great plant if you want to plant something on the ground that you can eat that is that will beat the weeds. So that's betel leaf. Heaps of dragon fruit. We're going to start a dragon fruit farm area. That's another point, is when people do get a sawtooth coriander leaves and they feel the serration of it and they think, oh, that's too spiky, I don't want to eat that. Honestly, when you chop it up, when you chop it finely, there is no spikes left. If you put it into a food processor to make a condiment, a green condiment, there are no spikes left. It's a beautiful coriander flavour. So don't be too afraid of the spikes, because they're not really spikes, they're just a serrated edge. So when you cut them up, there's nothing offensive about them. So even though I'm saying, look at all the seed heads there, look at that. So even though I'm saying to grow it by seed, you still can actually just pull out a plant like that. And especially if you want to give them away to people, that's a really great way to do it, and just plant that and that will be fine. I'm going to go and plant that one now. So that's the plant I just pulled out of the garden. I'm just going to pop it in there. And that will do fine. Hello, chicken. What you doing? What you doing? That's kangkong. So that's like an Asian vegetable, grows like a weed. You can see this chicken is eating everything around the sawtooth coriander, but not the sawtooth coriander. Here's the teenager guinea. I've always called it a baby, but now I think it's earned the right to be called a teenager. And it's a male. You can see the two gobbly things on the side of its face are quite long, and that means he's going to be a boy. Well, he's already a boy, but we've only just found that out. Hello. Hello, Mr. Guinea. I forgot to let the dogs out the veggie garden. Did I leave you in there? Lexi. Lexi, come on. She's just sitting next to that garden bed, waiting for whatever is in it to come out. You're a good girl. Our passion fruit, well, our newest passion fruit, is starting to take off now. So I want this whole fence to be just green passion fruit, except for this side, which I'm going to do chocos on. Lexi, come on. Come here. Come here. What are you looking for? There is definitely something in that garden. She can smell it, and she's even on the outside of the fence going back to look at that lemongrass bed. I'll show you. So that's our massive, beautiful lemongrass. That stuff is so fragrant. And she wants me to open up that gate to let her in. So this is the papaya patch that we planted on the weekend. There's another video about that. But I'll just show you. So when you transplant them, the leaves all die off. But you can see here, we did this on Sunday. So just a couple of days later, there's new leaves coming on. That's a cane toad. Lexi, no, no, leave it. That's a cane toad. They are so gross. So they have poison glands on their backs, so I don't want you to touch it. Get away, go. The cane toads are a pest. They were introduced to eat the cane beetles, and their numbers just went nuts, and they're now taking over the whole of Australia. But they have poisonous glands on the back, on their backs, which you can see the poison coming out. All that wet is poison. Sheila will actually catch them and lick the poison to get high. Like, it's so disgusting. But I don't really want them eating the poison, even though it doesn't seem to hurt them. But I know some people's dogs have been hurt by it, but these dogs have probably licked a million cane toads so far. Gross. Don't touch it, okay? I'm just trying to get it to go into the vegetable garden. There we go. So now I know the dogs aren't going to get it. Go, go, go. Tropical far north Queensland might look beautiful, and it is beautiful, but with that comes all the snakes, all the toads, all the huge spiders, everything. And look what I'm seeing over here. So I love cockatoos, and we share our food with the cockatoos, but they've gotten to these grapefruits before I got a chance to net the tree. I'll show you. So the grapefruit aren't ready yet, but you can see they've eaten a few, so I am going to come out here and net this tree. There's still heaps up here, I'm not worried. Do you eat grapefruit? The upside of it is when the cockatoos just take one bite out of a piece of fruit and drop it on the ground, then the chickens come along and eat it, so it's okay. So that is it. That is the amazing sawtooth coriander. It's fairly easy to get seeds online or at the local hardware store. It is a fantastic herb to grow for eating, but also as a natural free mulch and ground cover to keep down the weeds and keep the moisture in. Grow it in a little bit of shade if you can, and if you can't, it will do fine in full sun as well. So that's it. That is sawtooth coriander. If you feel like it, and only if you feel like it, like and subscribe. But most importantly, stay calm in the farm.